So, the title of today's video is true. Definitely not saying I'm proud of it, but it is true. I went through Destiny Tracker and counted. I played 124 games of the brand new Rift Iron Banner. Why? Because I don't have a lot of self-respect. Because I know all of you really wanted to know my complete thoughts on the new game type overall. If I sound a tad frazzled while recording today's video, well, 124 goddamn games, which by the way, yeah, there will be a future 50 games of video, so be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell to make sure you don't miss that one, #smooth. And also, I'm irritated because B, I had planned for another video to go live this week, an actually reliable deep sight opulent weapon farm. I know, would have been great, right? But then Tuesday came along and ruh-roh, that exploit got thrown in the trash along with my hopes and dreams. At least I got a fully crafted Austringer before the whole operation went belly up, but I digress. Anywho, before I share thoughts on Iron Banner, are you in the market for a hot gaming PC? Don't even worry about it. Apex has got you completely covered. Hit the link down in the video description to check out their beautiful machines, and remember to use discount code FALLOUT at checkout to receive up to $250 off your purchase. Thank you, Apex. All right, let's talk about Iron Banner Rift, aka Reddit speedrun complaint topic any percent. I have both good things to say and not so good things. Not really sure how to structure them all, so I'm just gonna throw them together in a big pile. First of all, before anyone stomps all over my grapes, I want to point out that I played about an equal amount of both team play and solo play. So no, my feedback ain't coming from a place where literally all of my games were just me and my heartless tryhard full shill streamer buddies wagon circling a bunch of fresh blueberries. I did play some games with a full gang of PvP bros, but only about half of my team games overall were in a full stack of 6. The other half was just me and a friend or two. The games that I played usually went one of two ways. Way number one, this would usually happen if I went in with a full 6 stack of homies. I want to say that 90 to 95% of those games would turn into a quick 5-0. We'd get matched against a team where either it was 2 groups of 3 people or 3 groups of 2 people or 1 or 2 poor schmucks who literally didn't know that freelance is a thing that they could queue into, and they would get flattened. On the off chance that we got matched up with another full 6 stack, those were the most fun games played by far. They were kind of close, they were kind of intense, and even when we ended up losing, I ended up having a good time because of how even the games usually were. But again, I want to say 95% of the time I went in with a full team. Very quick steamroll. Way number two, this would usually happen if I just went in with one other friend, or if I went into the freelance banner playlist. The game would drag on forever and go to time. Oh sure, you'd have the occasional game where by the sheer grace of God, one team would get much better team balancing RNG and come together like the Avengers to bend the other team over a barrel. But for the most part, going in without a full team would result in the game dragging on and time ultimately expiring. Let's get this one out of the way right now. The bugs and glitches. Were they a total 100% dampener on my Iron Banner experience overall? No. Will they probably be ironed out by the next time Banner comes around? Yeah, very likely. So should I even waste any time complaining about the bugs to begin with? Well, too bad, because I'm gonna. Bungie obviously playtested this game type internally before it went live to the public. So with that in mind, my question is, what the fuck? The glitch where the spark becomes unable to be picked up by anyone and we all have to hang out for 9 minutes beating the snot out of each other until the sweet release of overtime, or worse, a guaranteed L if your team was down when the spark glitched out. That glitch was kind of easy to activate too. I think you just had to murder the carrier as they were picking up the spark. Are you telling me that glitch did not come up one time during internal playtesting? Again, I'm sure they'll fix it for next time, but good God, I feel like a very simple, hey, if no one touches the objective in X amount of time, it'll teleport back to dead center of the map mechanic would have immediately taken care of that issue. And I know Bungie can do that kind of stuff because that's a mechanic from Halo, like the back in the day Halo, the good Halo, the Bungie era Halo. Also that thing where you just keep transmatting back to spawn over and over and over? Yeesh. I know accidents happen, but if we're trying to get people hyped over a new PvP game type, I feel like we gotta squash them bugs pronto. Let's talk about the maps. There's only 3 so far, and while that might be boring, I understand why there's only 3. Rift kind of seems like it'll only work on perfectly symmetrical maps. Otherwise, you could put one team at an advantage and the other at a disadvantage depending on the map. If Bungie wants to tinker with adding more maps in the future, sure, I'm game, but I could see it potentially going poorly. This might sound dumb, but I'm gonna throw in a minor complaint about the end game stat screen. Teammates revived, runner defended. I get what Bungie is trying to do. They're trying to highlight relevant objective related information because Rift is an objective based PvP game mode. They want to make sure the emphasis is on objective play. However, come on, man. I know at the end of the day, the most important thing you can do in Rift is carry the spark in for a dunk. That number and that number alone determines the win. But it's super weird to see the endgame stat screen with absolutely zero mention of kills and or assists and or deaths. And to those of you who may be sprinting down to the comment section to say something like, why would they show number of kills in an objective mode? Kills don't matter. I say, oh yeah? Next time Rift Banner comes back in July, go in with a full team of 6 and play 20 games where not one person on your team even attempts to get a kill. All 6 of you go full pacifist mode and try to lock up a dub. Then report back to me on how many out of those 20 games you won and give me links to each game on Destiny Tracker. Kills 100% matter, even in objective PvP game modes. Sure, you can pop off and lose, but you need people to effectively slay hard as you push the objective into the enemy spawn. Now, I'm not saying that kills should be the main highlight of the endgame stat screen, but come on, really? Not showing them at all? Even when I'm the spark runner, I want to know who on my team crammed the most enemy guardians into a locker so I can give them a personal thank you for making my dunk job easier. Hell, if I get matched up with a total slayer again, I'll know who to stick with if they're on my team and who to watch out for if they're on the other team. 86 runner defended and teammates revived on the endgame stat screen, and show me the kills, goddammit. Alright, I'm sounding like a negative Nancy right now, so let's show a little gratitude. The fact that we actually have a PvP game type in D2 that isn't just Team Slayer with more steps, bravo. I know the feedback on Rift right now is pretty hit or miss, at least from the people I've talked to, but overall, I found it refreshing, and it made me crave more objective-based game types in D2. And by the way, isn't that what we have Crucible Labs for? Throw out some experimental objective game modes every now and then and give people a new emblem for playtesting it. At least that way, if there are bugs that literally end or ruin the game, we can just chalk it up to being a playtest, yeah? Also, then when people on Twitter clamor for old Bungie favorites like Capture the Flag or Oddball, Bungie could then potentially just point to playtest data and be like, hey, we playtested CTF and Crucible Labs. Hardly anyone played and the feedback wasn't good. Argument over. Okay, getting back to Rift. I really like the change from D1 to D2 where after a dunk, the entire game would get reset and everyone would go back to their starting spawn. I actually heard from a lot of people that they hated that change and that it didn't feel like D1. I also heard from some of the same people that they also hated snowballing in Rift. Well, pick a lane, chief. The round's hard resetting after a dunk is to prevent snowballing, and I think it's good design. I mean, on God, if y'all want to go back to the D1 version of Rift completely, I'll gladly ride that train, but don't complain if intentional spawn killing leaps up by 1000%. I'll set up shop right in your own goddamn backyard. Stay there forever. At least with round resetting, both teams start on completely equal ground all over again, super and ability energy aside. You can't just camp the spawn. You actually have to re-earn map control each and every time, which I think rewards good teamwork. More feedback I've heard I want to weigh in on. The, quote, feeling of being down 3-0 or being down 4-0 feels hopeless. This one is kind of tricky because on one hand, when I was flying solo and was down 3-0 or 4-0, it did feel pretty unwinnable. On the other hand, though, I hate catch-up mechanics. Back when Bungie added catch-up mechanics to Gambit Prime, it was IMO one of the worst things about Prime that pushed me down the path of beginning to hate Gambit. If I'm on a team that is popping off in any kind of PvP game mode, we're probably popping off for a reason. Don't get me wrong, I don't want only landslide victories. I feel like the solution there should be better lobby balancing across the board, not any form of catch-up mechanic. To me, that would be like in baseball if one team was up 5 runs to nothing, so by bottom of the 7th, they give the trailing team a free 2 runs and a man on third to try and help that team catch up. And that is just goddamn un-American. Now, I shouldn't complain about a catch-up mechanic to Rift that doesn't exist yet, but I'm just putting the vibe out there now that while I agree that being down does suck, I don't like catch-up mechanics. I vote for better lobby balancing, so that way you have less instances of one team god-stomping 5-0. And speaking of 5 dunks to win, sometimes the games to me felt like they went on a little too long. Bungie's kind of in a weird spot with this one, because while they have to make a balanced PvP experience, they also have to worry about something that other PvP game devs don't have to worry about. The PvP experience in D2 can very often be directly tied to some kind of in-game currency farm or exotic quest completion or what have you. I know that when Team Scorch came around, people used to grind that out for certain exotic catalyst quest completion or whatever that might involve doing a lot of an activity playlist completion, and Scorch just happened to be a short, quick game type. I often wonder if Bungie is literally hesitant to make a really short and or quick PvP game mode because they feel that when it comes around, people are just going to grind and milk it relentlessly only for that one reason, if it's in-game currency or a quest completion or whatever. But even with that in mind, I still feel like 5-0 in Rift probably a little too long. I think cutting it down to 4-0 would be a good idea. Thoughts on the overall meta in Rift, aka Wither Horde? Oh good lord, how the kids go overboard with that Wither Horde. Was it annoying? I mean, it definitely can be when the entire enemy team is playing the game of if I can't have the spark, no one can. But that is kind of the nature of PvP in a nutshell. Find whatever weapon or ability or tactic can be taken advantage of to hamper the enemy team with the least amount of complication to pull off, and beat them into the ground with it. I do think that losing your special ammo on a revive definitely does help curb the special ammo spam though, so even though Wither Horde abuse was irritating, it didn't really, quote, ruin the game type for me. It does make me think about how challenging it's gotta be for Bungie to repeatedly balance weapons between both a PvE and PvP sandbox at the same time though. Thoughts on the new experience with Lord Salad Bar and the new way of getting banner loot? I think most people out there can agree that the old bounty system was getting really stale. I will forever celebrate the death of that god-awful get ability kills in Iron Banner bounty, which was just horrifically terrible. I want to feel like I'm playing PvP my way and not making something like a Titan shoulder charge spam build so I can quickly get that terrible bounty off my plate immediately. The new system IMO is much better. Grind out banner, get engrams, take it to the tower, and decrypt into a weapon that I actually want. Bravo. I do gotta say though, god damn, the cost on loot might be a little steep. If you saw one of my more recent videos about in-game glitches, you'll know there was recently a legendary shard farm exploit. Using that exploit, I went from around 1k to 20,000 legendary shards. But by the end of Iron Banner, I'd burned through about 5,000 legendary shards in a matter of minutes in order to decrypt the loot I wanted, that is. Now to a grizzled D2 vet who may or may not be sitting on top of a pile of legendary shards like Smog on a pile of gold coins, no big deal. But to D2 newcomers wanting to get dank Iron Banner loot, I don't know, they might be going shard broke almost immediately. Unsure if I was the only one who felt that way about the loot, but just putting the vibe out there. To me, Iron Banner Rift was a fun experiment. Not perfect, but more enjoyable than old Banner. At least for right now. I don't know if I'd want it to be the new norm forever, but great as a shakeup, provided we tweak those game ruining bugs and maybe make the games a tad shorter. But I really want to know what y'all thought of Iron Banner. Let's do the following. Smash or pass down in the comment section. Give me a short comment on why you either liked it or didn't care for it. Either way, I appreciate you, and big thank you from me for 500,000 subs. Next stop, 1 million. Mad love. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.